Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of week 6. In this lesson, we are going to look at how to design a database and basically create a model for an application. We are going to be using this hepatitis B infected pregnant women reporting form to look at the form fields and decide how we want to go about creating a model for this form. My name is Mildred. When defining a model based on specifications and form, we have to take a critical look at the form field, and we want to create a storage for this field. When this form is filled, let's say we want to convert this into an electronic system. We want it to go into a table, a database table, or several tables. But we want to link these tables based on maybe foreign keys, and we want all information to be organized. Sometimes you get specific requirements for what you are to create, and sometimes you don't. Half of the time, the customers do not know what they want, and you have to tell them what they want, and that is where your logical reasoning and your ability to be able to think critically comes into play. On this form, we have a field called received in surveillance. We have a first name, last name, middle name, date of birth, estimated delivery date. If the patient is aware of the hepatitis B status, the address, city, state, and zip phone number, the type of insurance, the race, the country of birth, the primary language. We have the laboratory information and the clinical information for the pregnancy. Thinking critically about this whole form can be said to have data in two categories: data about the pregnant woman and data about the pregnancy. We can think of these categories as saying all the data about the pregnant woman is going to be linked together by a foreign key. All the data about the pregnancy is going to be linked together by a foreign key. How do we design this? Now, while a little bit of domain knowledge can come in useful, it is not required. What you require is critical reasoning and ability to also reason logically. I have created this for us to be able to walk through the form. The form fields I have categorized as a registration category and a pregnancy category. On the registration category, the form fields are everything about the pregnant woman that will not change frequently or will not even change over time. The pregnancy category are things that start with the pregnancy and ends when the baby is born. What do we do with this information? We go further to look at how we can create the database, the table, and plan the relationship in this table. For the registration category, we have 5 tables that we can create. You can think about this in a totally different way and it's acceptable. But this is the way I want to think about it to make it easier for you as a beginner to understand how to go through this. We want to put everything that has to do with the names and the demographic information under a registration table. We want to have a table dedicated to date of birth, and we'll put everybody's date of birth there. We want to have a table dedicated to address, to have all the city, state, zip code, phone number, and the address of the person. We want to have an insurance table that will deal with the insurance information. We want to have an ethnicity table that will deal with the race, and also we can have a gender table. But since this is pregnant women, we assume that everybody is biological female. But later down the line, we'll see how we can change this to be from a female-only table to a table that collects contact tracing information, where if they want to look at the sexual partner and the household members of the pregnant woman who are exposed to being infected with the same hepatitis B, they want to link them to the person and the pregnancy. But we'll do that later on. In the pregnancy category, we want to have a pregnancy registration table. We want to have the clinic information table for the pregnancy and the laboratory results table for the pregnancy. We want all of these 3 tables to be connected by the pregnancy registration. So possibly we'll have something like a pregnancy ID, which is going to be a foreign key. What will tie all of the records together will be maybe a unique ID for the client on registration. So for the registration table, we want to put all of the information we want to go into that table. Now, one thing you want to do is you want to have an ID column that auto-increments. This ID column will be the index of the table. You always want to have the timestamp when it was created, who created it, the timestamp of when it was updated, who updated it, and then the major information is going to be a unique ID. You decide whether you want this as a hospital number, auto-generated, whatever it is, but it should be unique and uniquely identifies the person you have registered with their name, country of birth, family language. So we've taken this field from the form. We want to put this in a table. We create another table, the address table, and we'll put all address related information in that table. We create an ethnicity table and put the race in that table. We also create the insurance table and put the type of insurance on that table. We create the date of birth table and put all the dates of birth in that table. And then later on, we are going to see how we can create an age view, where we have a view that automatically calculates the age of everybody based on the current timestamp and the date of birth. So we'll look at that later. We have a pregnancy registration table that registers the pregnancy under that user and holds the pregnancy ID and the estimated date of delivery. Then we'll have a laboratory result table, and in this table we want to have all of the results and the uploaded copy of the results on this table. Then we want to have one last table that deals with the clinic information of the name of the OB provider for the clients. We want to have the file number of surveillance, who is reporting this incident, and also we want to look at the contact person at the facility, the contact number, the dates the form was completed, and all of those clinic information about where the registration happens. If we look at all of these fields we have grouped in several tables, we'll see that we have concluded all of the form fields here and everything from this form. So when we have a front end, and if you're coming from course 1, you would have seen this form because we use this as our class project, where when anything is filled here and the submit button is clicked, we want this form to be processed and the data stored in the database for easy retrieval or for viewing. And we're going to create that application as we go along. We are going to do this by writing the scripts to create a database, to create the tables, to provide the data types and the constraints for these tables, and we are going to do that in the next lesson.